History of Artificial Intelligence.
Right now, artificial intelligence is writing a code, diagnosing disease, and passing bar exams. It feels like magic. It feels brand new. But it's not. The truth is, the blueprint for the AI revolution was not drawn up in the sleek Silicon Valley glass office. It was born in the shadows of World War II, funded by secret military grants and dreamed up by a handful of rough mathematicians who asked one dangerous question: can machine think? Today, we are going back to the very beginning. We are going to uncover the forgotten summer of 1956, where the term artificial intelligence was spoken for the first time. We will look at the impossible hardware they used, the arrogance that almost killed the industry entirely, and the crushing decades known as the AI winters. If you want to understand where AI is going, you have to understand the ghost of its past. Before we had AI, we had Alan Turing. In 1950, Turing published a paper proposing the imitation game, what we now call the Turing test. His premise was simple. If a machine can converse with a human so convincingly that the human cannot tell they are talking to a computer, then the machine must be considered intelligent. But Turing was a theoretician. The people who actually set out to build this intelligence gathered 6 years later, in 1956. A young mathematician named John McCarthy convinced the Rockefeller Foundation to fund a 2-month summer workshop at Dartmouth College. McCarthy didn't want to call it cybernetics or automata theory. He wanted a bold name to attract funding. He called it artificial intelligence. The arrogance of this meeting was legendary. Their official proposal stated, "We think that a significant advance can be made in one or more of these problems if a carefully selected group of scientists work on it together for a summer." They genuinely believe that if 10 smart guys got together for 8 weeks, they could solve human intelligence. They could teach a machine to use languages, form concepts, and improve itself. Though they didn't solve it in summer, it would take 70 more years. To understand how crazy their ambition was, you have to look at the technology of the 1950s. Today, the smartphone in your pocket has billions of times more processing power than all the computers at Dartmouth combined. Back then, computers were the size of the entire rooms. They didn't have screens or keyboards. They ran on thousands of fragile glass vacuum tubes that generated immense heat and constantly burned out. Data was not stored in the cloud. It was stored on a punch paper cards and massive reels of magnetic tape. Writing a simple program could take days of physically punching holes into cardboard. Yet, in this primitive era, early AI achieved terrifying brilliant things. In 1964, a program called ELIZA was created at MIT. It was designed to mimic a psychotherapist. It simply rephrased what users types into it. Like if user typed, "I am unhappy," then ELIZA will type, "Why are you unhappy?" It was a simple trick, just a pattern matching. But something mysterious happened. People began pouring their deepest, darkest secrets into machine. Even the creator's own secretary asked him to leave the room so she could speak privately with Eliza. It was our first warning. Humans are deeply wired to a project a soul onto a machine. By the late 1960s, the hype had spiraled out of control. AI pioneers were telling the press that machines would be doing any work a man can do within 20 years. The US military poured millions into AI, expecting automated tanks and instant Russian to English translation systems for the Cold War. But they hit a brutal mathematical wall. They discovered something we now call Moravec's paradox. The paradox states that high-level reasoning like playing chess or solving calculus requires very little computation, but low-level sensory motor skills like recognizing a face, walking across a room, or understanding a joke requires immense, unimaginable computation power. It was easy to make a computer play checkers. It was impossible to make a computer tell the difference between dog and muffin. The military translation programs were a disaster. A famous story claims an early AI was asked to translate the phrase, "The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak," into Russian, and he translated it back as, "The vodka is good, but the meat is rotten." When the government realized AI could not deliver, they pulled the plug. Funding vanished, entire labs were shut down, researchers were mocked. This became known as the AI winter. Between the 1970s and the 1980s, the phrase artificial intelligence became toxic. If you wanted funding, you could not even use the word, you had to call it informatics or machine learning. The dream of thinking machine was entirely on life support. The pioneers at Dartmouth thought they could build a human mind in summer. They were wrong. But the foundation they laid, the failures they endured, and the hardware they built paved the way for the invincible algorithms that now run our global economy. But how did we get from a computer playing chess to an AI that can write poetry, pass medical exams, and drive cars, and do many more things? That shift did not happen because we got smarter. It happened because we fed the machine something new data. In the next episode, we will uncover the rise of machine learning, how big data changed the rules of the game forever,